Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Indian nationals advised against travelling to Bangladesh in view of violent protests. Students to hold a long march to Dhaka on Monday. UK government to hold an emergency response meeting on Monday after worst riots in 13 years. More than 150 people arrested. US President Joe Biden to meet his national security team over West Asia tensions. The UK evacuates families of embassy staff from Beirut. India's President Draupadi Murmu reaches Fiji on the first leg of a 6-day, 3-nation tour of the Indo-Pacific. And at the Paris Olympics, India's badminton player Lakshya Sen to play for bronze in the men's singles. In Bangladesh, more than 90 people, including 13 police personnel, were killed and scores injured on Sunday in violent clashes. The protesting students have announced a long march to Dhaka for Monday, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina.
As violence flare up across Bangladesh and widespread protests continue, the government has imposed an indefinite curfew on Sunday. Alongside the curfew, mobile internet services have been suspended again. The decision follows a violent day of clashes on Sunday. The violence erupted between protesters, law enforcement agencies and ruling party-backed group across Dhaka, Kumila, Rangpur, Kishorganj, Sirajganj, Pabna, Munshiganj and Mogura.
All the ministers are in the hiding. Wait and see how the people will go and surround the PM house. If Sheikh Hasina doesn't resign voluntarily, we will take our next step.
To ensure public safety amid the unrest, the government has declared a 3-day public holiday from Monday to Wednesday. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina also held an emergency national committee meeting on security affairs on Sunday. The anti-discrimination student movement, which has been leading quota reforms protest, intensified its efforts on Sunday with a nationwide non-cooperation campaign. With one-point agenda, movement's leaders are calling for the resignation of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Rabindra's report for DD India.
Indian nationals should avoid travelling to Bangladesh till further notice. The Ministry of External Affairs said that all Indian nationals presently in Bangladesh are advised to exercise extreme caution, restrict their movements and remain in contact with the High Commission of India in Dhaka through the following emergency telephone numbers: +880 195 838 3679, +880 195 838 3680 and +880 193 740 0591. I repeat, +880 195 838 3679, +880 195 838 3680 and +880 193 740 0591. Moving on, more than 140 people have been arrested in the UK after far-right demonstrations turned violent. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has vowed to do whatever it takes to bring the accused to justice. A series of clashes took place across the UK over the weekend. They were initially sparked by misinformation after a mass stabbing last week, but the police say the protests are now being joined by many who are just looking to deliberately cause unrest. John Beaver reports.
It was a weekend of unrest in many parts of the UK as demonstrations turned to violence. Far-right protesters gathered to call for tighter immigration laws, but some started fighting counter-protesters and the police. There were also reports of some looting and arson. Tensions have been high since 3 girls were killed at a dance class in Southport in northwest England last Monday. The suspect was born in the UK, but misinformation quickly spread online, claiming he was a recently arrived Muslim immigrant. Police have blamed much of the violence on the English Defence League, or EDL, whose supporters have been linked not only to football hooliganism, but also to Islamophobic ideologies. Senior police officers have condemned the rioting, and security has been increased at many Muslim places of worship across the UK. The policing minister said the protests meant people felt unsafe because of the colour of their skin. The new Home Secretary has vowed a swift and robust response. She said that communities must feel safe on the streets and promised that there are consequences for breaking the law. John Beaver in Bristol, reporting for DD India.
Meanwhile, in a televised address to the nation, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemned the anti-immigration riots, calling them quote-unquote far-right thuggery. He promised that the rioters would be met with swift judicial action.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
And moving on, tensions remain high in West Asia as Iran signals that it will launch an attack on Israel. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps says the planned military action would be in response to the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Trent Murray reports from Lebanon's capital, Beirut.
Well, for people living here in the Lebanese capital and really right across West Asia, there is growing concern that this region could be on the brink of a major war. That is because we continue to see a ratcheting up of the rhetoric from groups like the Lebanon-based Hezbollah. They say they are preparing a major response to that Israeli airstrike which targeted the southern suburbs of this city Tuesday, killing one of the group's most senior commanders. Now, Hezbollah, of course, forms a crucial part of what the Iranians describe as the axis of resistance, very much led by Tehran, but includes groups like Hezbollah, as well as others from Iraq, Syria, Hamas, of course, in Gaza, as well as the Yemeni-based Houthis. And what many diplomats and analysts are worried about is that all of those groups are currently talking to coordinate a major attack on Israel. Now, we know in response, there are efforts underway to prepare the country for that attack in Israel. Certainly, Israeli media is reporting bunkers have been prepared for government ministers. We also understand those same government ministers have been given satellite telephones in the event that the phone network goes down. That all happening while the US is continuing to move military assets into this region, including warships and fighter jets. It is expected that if this big attack against Israel does come, the US will attempt to help the Israeli Air Force intercept and shoot down rockets and cruise missiles that may be attempting to enter Israeli airspace. The concern from the Israelis is that while the Iranians might be planning a big attack, there is some warning time if it comes from Iran. The cruise missiles would take about 12 minutes to arrive. The drones are slower, 5 to 10 hours. But from Hezbollah's perspective, we have to remember they are on the border with Israel. There is very little warning time if they decide to attack. It is thought that they have an arsenal of 130 to 150,000 rockets, and if they decide to use some of that firepower en masse, well, it is expected the Iron Dome in Israel simply will not be able to keep up, and there will be significant damage. It is for that reason that there are concerns here around how Israel would respond to that. That is why we know diplomats across this region have been making a number of telephone calls to all sides to try and just bring down the temperature and de-escalate this situation. A reminder, the government of India is warning all Indian nationals here in Lebanon to make immediate plans to leave. Trent Murray for DD India, Beirut.
Meanwhile, the United States and its allies are trying to dial down tensions in West Asia. It's further moving its military assets to the region as its diplomats work to avoid a major conflict. Jagrati Dave has more.
An alert over the weekend from the US Embassy in Lebanon says they encourage those who wish to depart Lebanon to book any ticket available, even if that flight does not depart immediately, nor does it allow their first choice route. They say US citizens who don't have enough money to get back to the US can get financial assistance through repatriation loans. They are also advising those who choose to remain in Lebanon to prepare contingency plans for emergency situations and be prepared to shelter in place for an extended period of time. All this as the region is bracing for some kind of escalation following the killing of top Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, as well as an Israeli strike in Lebanon's capital, Beirut, which killed a senior member of the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. Alongside diplomatic efforts to dial down the tensions, the United States is increasing its military presence in the region. Speaking to news programs over the weekend, Jonathan Feiner, the White House National Security Council's deputy advisor, said the US is getting ready for every possibility, but ultimately their goal is de-escalation. Jagrati Dave in Washington reporting for DD India.
And Britain on Sunday evacuated the families of its embassy staff in Lebanon's capital, Beirut. The UK government has said that British nationals should leave Lebanon now while commercial routes are still available. Additionally, the UK has deployed consular officials, border force and military personnel in the region. In other news, US presidential candidate Kamala Harris met with potential nominees for vice president on Sunday. She will likely announce her running mate on Monday. Harris met Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, US lawmaker Mark Kelly of Arizona, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Harris plans to appear for her public gathering on Tuesday in Philadelphia with the running mate. Harris's campaign managers are planning a social media announcement featuring the duo. Harris met U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg on Friday. She is also meeting candidates virtually, including Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Tropical storm Debbie has strengthened into a hurricane as it approaches the coast of the U.S. state of Florida. It's expected to make landfall on Monday. Debbie will dump heavy rains in the southeastern part of the United States. Officials have put most of the cities in Florida under emergency orders and deployed more than 3,000 troops. The hurricane is also expected to cause flooding in the states of Georgia and South Carolina. Still to come on DD India Live. A look at Jammu and Kashmir's transformation after abrogation of its special status under Article 370. India celebrates the anniversary of the groundbreaking ceremony of Lord Ram Temple at Ayodhya. And Noah Lyles of the US becomes the world's fastest man, wins the men's 100-meter final at the Paris Olympics.
This summer, the world turns its eyes to Paris And DD India brings you every heartbeat, every victory and every story. Introducing our special coverage of the Paris Olympics. Experience the passion, the drama and the triumphs. With exclusive reports, expert analysis and up-to-the-minute updates. Join us as we bring the spirit of the Olympics to your screens.
Get ready for the ultimate sporting extravaganza on DD India.
DD India presents Champions Day Paris. Only on DD India. Every day at 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. India's President Draupadi Murmu has reached Fiji on the first leg of a 6-day, 3-nation tour. She was welcomed by Fiji's Deputy Prime Minister. Now, President Murmu will meet her Fijian counterpart and the Prime Minister. She will address Fiji's parliament. She will also visit the Shiva Subramania Swami temple, a symbol of the cultural ties between the two countries. On the second leg of her visit, President Murmu will be in New Zealand on the 8th and 9th of August. She will meet the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. She will address the New Zealand International Education Conference in Wellington. President Murmu will finally travel to Dili, the capital of the Southeast Asian country of Timor-Leste, where she will hold a meeting with her counterpart as well as meet the Prime Minister. President Murmu will address the Indian community in all the three countries. Her visit aims to boost India's Act East policy and its outreach to countries in the Indo-Pacific. The budget session of India's Parliament resumes on Monday, featuring several key bills on the agenda following a week of intense debate between the opposition and the ruling alliance. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will introduce the Appropriation Bill and the Finance Bill, while Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal is expected to present legislation concerning the readjustment of the scheduled tribes' representation in Goa's assembly constituencies. Next, we get you weather updates from across India. Rescue operations are in their last stage in the landslide-hit Wayanad in India's southern state of Kerala. The official death toll is 222. Hundreds of people are still reported missing. The Indian Army has mobilized a flood relief column to assist the affected residents of Ekta Nagar in Maharashtra's Pune. It was responding to incessant rainfall in Pune and the release of excess water from the Khadakvastala Dam. The Army has commenced the evacuation of all buildings and apartments in the inundated areas, relocating people to safer locations. Meanwhile, rescue and relief works are underway in the northern Indian states of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand that are affected by cloudbursts and landslides. The Indian Army is conducting rescue operations at Kedarnath, airlifting the people stranded there. Incessant rainfall and flood-like situation have made life miserable in different parts of the country. Some places in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat are likely to get heavy rains on Monday. Five years to the day after India abrogated Article 370 of its constitution, restoration of peace and developmental activities stand out as its most significant achievements in Jammu and Kashmir. The past 5 years have seen a remarkable transformation of Jammu and Kashmir. Sakal Bhatt reports.
मैं मानता हूं कि जम्मू कश्मीर में एक लंबे रक्तपात भरे युग का अंत धारा 370 के समाप्त होने से
Unfolding the remarkable transformation of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, abrogation of Article 370 not only marked endgame of separatism and terrorism in the region, but also a big shift from terror to transformation. Kashmir of India has embraced this change with open arms.
जब से मोदी सरकार की हुकूमत आई है तब से बहुत राहत हमें मिली है। हमें कोई टेंशन नहीं है। जो पिछले 30 सालों में हो रहा था वो सब बदल गए हैं। कोई पथराव नहीं है, कोई हड़ताल नहीं है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has, dedicated to healing the wounds that were afflicted upon Kashmiris, that afflicted the hearts and minds of Kashmiris due to the misguided decisions taken after independence. So I feel that as we embark on the future journey, we expect a similar unwavering approach from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led government, so that we see a peaceful and prosperous Jammu and Kashmir.
The erstwhile terror and stone pelting infested zones are now bustling with normalcy. Generations privy to the years of terrorism and turmoil speak of semblance of normalcy witnessed in last 5 years.
आज से 5 साल पहले की बात करें, डाउनटाउन में चलना बड़ा मुश्किल था। डाउनटाउन के दुकान वाले बहुत परेशान थे, स्टोन पेल्टिंग होती रहती थी। लेकिन अगर हम आज के दौर की बात करें, डाउनटाउन का हर कोई यूथ अभी अपनी लाइफ को स्मूथली चला रहा है।
There has been a drastic uptick in tourist footfall and trade as well.
I have seen a lot of change in the last 5 years. Before, it was very difficult to do business in Kashmir Valley due to stone pelting, strikes, curfews, and now things has been really changed, and we are thankful to God. And because of the government, they have really taken a good action about those incidents, and we are very, very thankful to the government of India.
पहले पथराव होता है, कर्फ्यू होता था, टूरिस्ट नहीं आता था। अब इन 5 सालों में बहुत फर्क आ गया है। अभी टूरिस्ट भी बहुत आ रहा है और लोग भी अच्छे कमाई हो रहा है और शिकारा भी सब लोग कमाते हैं, होटल वाले, हाउस बोट वाले सब कमाते हैं।
Local inhabitants of Kashmir also speak of the powerful shift in lives of students, signifying the profound impact on education and its continuity.
4-5 साल से अगर हम देखें तो बहुत ही बेहतरीन रहा है। कुछ कर्फ्यू नहीं है, कोई पत्थरबाजी नहीं है, कोई बच्चा डरता नहीं है। अब अच्छे से स्कूल जाता है, कंटिन्यूसली स्कूल जाता है। कॉलेज अगर देखें तो कंटिन्यूसली ऑन रहते हैं।
Kashmir now thrives on newfound peace and progress, a clear transition from shadows of uncertainty and decades of stagnation characterized by shutdowns. All that is history now.
यहाँ की जो चेंज है वो विजिबल है। जब आप कश्मीर में 5 साल पहले की बात करेंगे, स्ट्राइक्स की आप बात करें, स्टोन पेल्टिंग की बात करें, इवन मिलिटेंसी की बात करें, वो ग्राफ पूरी तरह से जीरो पे आ चुका है।
In a big turnaround of ground situation post-abrogation of Article 370, as per Government of India, there has been 70% decline in total terrorism-related cases, an 81% reduction in civilian deaths, and a 48% decrease in casualties of security forces. The current scenario is a testament to the resilience and transformation of a region that has embraced peace wholeheartedly. Sakal Bhatt's report for DD India.
The 5th of August holds a significant place in India's history. On this day in the year 2020, the groundbreaking ceremony of the Lord Ram Temple at Ayodhya was performed. The temple has since become a symbol of India's rich cultural tradition and legacy.
August in 2020 is registered as the beginning of a golden chapter, not only for India, but for the entire world. The groundbreaking ceremony of the Ram Temple was performed on this day in the ancient city of Ayodhya in the northern India. In this special ceremony, first 9 stones were worshipped that were used in the construction of Ram Temple. Along with performing the ritual, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi planted a sapling in the temple complex. While the formation of Ram Mandir Trust was announced in Parliament in February 2020. The decision to build the Ram Temple came after a long legal battle. On 6th August 2019, the Supreme Court started daily hearing, and after 40 continuous days of hearing, it was concluded on 16th October 2019, though the Supreme Court reserved the verdict. Then on November 9th in 2019, the Supreme Court considered the concerned site as Sri Ram Janmabhoomi and considered 2.77 acres of land as the ownership of Ram Lalla. Along with this, the court directed that the central government should form a trust within 3 months for the construction of the temple, and the trust should include a representative of Nirmohi Akhara, and that ended the decades of long legal battle. Finally, the dream of Ram Temple came true and a grand Ram Temple was built. Lakhs of devotees are reaching Ayodhya every day to have a glimpse of Lord Sri Ram. Along with the construction of Ram Temple, all-round development of Ayodhya city is also taking place, due to which not only people are getting employment, but devotees are also getting all kinds of facilities. Bureau Report, DD India.
And now to all the updates from the Paris Olympics. Noah Lyles of the US was crowned the world's fastest man in the men's 100-meter final at Paris Olympics. Jamaica's Kishane Thompson won silver, falling short of the ultimate prize by a fraction of a second in one of the closest 100-meter finals of all time. Fred Curley of the US took home the bronze. Noah Lyles became the first 100-meter men's Olympic champion from the US since Justin Gatlin won the sprint gold in 2004. India's Lakshya Sen has performed exceptionally well in the semi-finals. He put up an exemplary fight even though he lost the game. Sen will look forward to creating history on Monday and bag India's first Olympic medal in men's singles badminton. Right, and with that, it's a wrap on this edition of DD India Live. You can get all the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download it. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also check out our website ddindia.co.in. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. All of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.